What's up, everybody? Hey, Jeff Marconette Jr., the host of this show, which is called Make Every Second Count Live. And I am also known as the award winning international Make Every Second Count speaker. Now, you are in for a treat tonight because the guest I have is nothing short of amazing. Now, you've probably heard the phrase before that nothing is impossible. And this guy is going to show you that nothing is impossible. So let me introduce you to Aaron Hale. Hey,
Good
Aaron.
evening, Jeff. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, you are quite welcome. So if you would like to go ahead and tell everybody where you're from, what you do, and more importantly, why you do what you do, I am going to be inviting some people on my phone. So I'm going to be paying attention, just not looking at you.
Well, I won't be looking at you either. I'm originally from Akron, Ohio,
Woo!
and but after leaving high school, I joined the military, joined the Navy as a cook. Just before that, a short stint at Bowling Green State University, but there's I'll tell you about that in a minute. But joined the Navy, got to tour around the Mediterranean, Europe, and then switched over to the Army and got to see all the dusty, dry parts of the Middle East. Uh, and then I settled down in the Panhandle of Florida. So I'm in Santa Rosa Beach, near just between Pensacola and Panama City, and that's where I've been for the last almost 10 years now.
That's really
And
cool.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's really cool. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy evening to be here with me and my guest. Now, I have to address the elephant in the room. And this might be rude and I hope it's not. But do you not have any eyes?
I do not. I lost my eyes in an IED blast in 2011, so I have prosthetic eyes. But from what I've heard, they look just like the originals.
That's awesome. I like that. From what I've heard, they look just like the originals. That is just really cool that you can have a sense of humor about that. And like I said, I didn't want to be rude or anything. I just wanted to highlight that so the viewers would understand a little bit. So, if you would like to go ahead and tell us a little bit about the challenges of losing your eyes and go through the story of losing your eyes. Tell everybody
Absolutely.
how you did that.
Well, like I said, I started off as a Navy cook, but in fact, I was a personal chef to a three-star admiral in
Woo!
Gaeta, Italy, the commander of the United States Sixth Fleet, the fleet that the part of the Navy that goes is in the Mediterranean and the Eastern Atlantic, Europe and Africa, and this was between 2000 and 2004. By the time my time up in Italy was up in Italy in 2004, we were at war with two different countries, not too far apart from each other, and I realized that I was, even though I was in the service, even though every job counts in the military, I was watching this war on CNN. So part of me felt a draw to do something a little bit more with my talents, with my a little more effort towards the battle. So I volunteered to go to Afghanistan first as a cook, but that's where I learned about EOD, explosive ordnance disposal. I met some EOD technicians, and these guys are the military's bomb squad on the battlefield. Anything that goes boom, from bullets to nuclear weapons, all those weapons of mass destruction and chemical weapons, RPGs, you name it. If it's on the battlefield and it needs to be rendered safe or disposed of, that's our job. So I put in a request with the Navy to go from cook to bomb tech, and they promptly said no. I guess they like my cooking too much. But
that's good.
The truth was, there were a number of reasons, like my own position and rank in the Navy were undermanned, and they didn't have enough of me, so they didn't want me to go. So unfortunately, my desire was greater than theirs. So when my enlistment in the Navy was coming to an end, I decided not to reenlist. I changed uniforms. I went over to the armor recruiter, and I enlisted as an EOD technician. Trained up as a soldier and then as a bomb tech right here in the Panhandle at Eglin Air Force Base. And then I promptly deployed to Iraq, and then to a second time to Afghanistan, this time as an EOD team leader. And unfortunately, about 8 months into a 12-month rotation, one of them got me. One of them got past. So I was working on one IED when a secondary device was nearby, and it hadn't yet been detected, and that thing detonated. And luckily for me, it only hit me in the head. I was virtually untouched from my neck down, and we Hale boys have pretty thick skulls, so it couldn't hit me in a better place.
That is awesome, though. I'm glad that it didn't really affect your body at all.
Well, it did affect me quite a bit. Besides losing my eyes, it had cracked my skull and my sinuses a few places where I was actually leaking spinal fluid right out of my nose. Of course, it blew out both of my eardrums, and it had broken a few bones in my face, and there was cuts and scars and all that kind of stuff, and burns. But the serious issue were the eyes and this crack in my skull. So within 48 hours of getting lifted off the battlefield, I was at Walter Reed in Maryland, and they were performing surgery after surgery to try to repair the eyes, to restore any of the sight, but unfortunately, that was to no avail. They did patch up my the crack in my skull, so wasn't leaking anymore, which was good. However, there would be complications a few years later.
And so I have to ask, like, what was the initial feeling of the IED exploding?
Well, dude, frankly, I didn't have time to worry about what was going on with me or what had happened. The blast happened so suddenly, and I was on the battlefield, and I'm a Army staff sergeant. My first thought was, "Oh my gosh, that's what it feels like." I just got blown up. But then, second was what was happening around me. This is the battlefield. Sometimes there are ambushes right after the bomb blast, a coordinated attack. I wanted to know where the security cordon, what they were doing. Was everybody trying, like, watching the guy get blown up, or were they pointing their guns outward and making sure nothing else happened? My team, they're supposed to come in, and if a team leader goes down, the team members, the other two EOD techs on the scene, are supposed to clear a safe route and come get me out so the medics can work on me. I'm thinking about all this and what's happening. But of course, now that my eyes were gone, my job was kind of done there. But I didn't realize that at the time. I thought my helmet and from the blast had actually gotten pushed over my face.
Oh, yeah.
So I did the functions check. I wiggled the fingers and the toes, and I did the knees and elbows, and everything seemed to be in place. So I thought, okay, I'm getting back to work. And I reached up to find my helmet and fix it, and it was gone. So that's when I thought, oh no, this is really bad.
Yeah.
And my first sergeant's going to kill me for losing that helmet.
It's strange when something like this happens, and I've noticed that it's not just you, but it's a lot of people. Their first reaction is how is this going to affect other people? It's so weird that people are like that.
Well, a lot of that for me, I learned in the military. One of my first and toughest challenges was going from a me mindset to a service mindset. When I grew up um, and not really having, I had enough natural talent not to ever really have to try very hard at anything just to get by.
Yeah.
When I got to college, yeah, everybody who actually worked hard passed me by in a second. And I soon found me kicked out of school with terrible grades and no prospects for the future. But I didn't have any ambition. I didn't have any goals. I didn't have a set of principles to live my life by. That's why I joined the military in the first place. They're pretty much selfish goals. I needed to find a better me. But along the way, as I was quickly made it up in the ranks and found that the military suited me very well, it became less about me and it was more about the service. It was more about the service members to my left and right. And it was about the mission. It was about my country. And it became so much better than just about me.
Yes, that is amazing. This story is a miraculous story, and I definitely want to say thank you again. I mean, this is really opening my eyes to the military more than anything else, and I really appreciate your authenticity and the fact that you're willing to be vulnerable with people. I find that to be very outstanding.
Well, I believe that if yeah, I've heard it somewhere said, and of course I botch every quote, but somebody said someday your story of struggle will be somebody else's blueprint for survival. So if I, and that sounded like it was it, but
Good
it's true.
job.
If I can be of some help to others, then my sacrifice can pay off, not just for me, because I learned more about myself while dealing with the challenges, with dealing with these hardships than I ever thought I ever would have without having faced these obstacles.
Yeah.
And I got to do it multiple times. There was the IED in the blast, and then 4 years later, I got meningitis and went deaf. So I got knocked to the mat a couple times, and each time I believe I got up stronger.
Yeah. Guys, we're here tonight on Make Every Second Count Live with Aaron Hale. He is a retired EOD specialist from the military, and he is telling how he lost his eyes. And now he just told us that he caught meningitis. And if you know anything, meningitis is nothing to mess around with.
No.
So, how did this meningitis affect you, Aaron?
Well, for the injury happened, the bomb blast was in 2011. I went through the VA's blind rehabilitation center, and that's what for like half a year, they just trained me on all of the accessibility devices, talking phones and computers and barcode scanners, and learned how to use the cane and all that kind of stuff. And it was it was my theory was, if I was going to have to be uh, blind for the rest of my life, well, then I was going to be the best darn blind guy I could be. So as soon as I could get on the internet and start searching things, I started typing up, the blind plus outside, blind plus running, blind plus, whatever I could, and I kept coming up with these names, like Eric Weinmayer kept coming up because he was the first blind person to climb Mount Everest. You know what? I sought him out, and I went climbing with him. I joined an all-wounded veteran team up a 18,000-foot peak in the Peruvian Andes with Eric.
Wow.
There was Lonnie Bedwell, was the first blind person to kayak the entire Grand Canyon in a solo kayak, and I sought him out, and I went kayaking with him. We kayaked the Yellowstone, but I kept finding ways not just to cope with my situation, but bounce back even more. So it's 4 years after the incident and the injury, and I'm doing all right. In one summer, I'd climbed 14,000-foot peaks in Colorado in a day. I went hunting for the first time, which was an interesting story on its own. I went kayaking. I ran the Boston Marathon. Everything in this one in 2015, and I was 2 weeks away from climbing Mount Kilimanjaro when I contracted bacterial meningitis. That crack in my skull either wasn't fully patched or reopened, and an opening pathway out is also pathway in. So bacterial meningitis crept in, and I was back in the hospital, and it nearly killed me. In fact, my family thought I was going to go, but I did survive. But however, during the process of the healing, whether it was heavy doses of antibiotics or the meningitis itself, it stole what was left of my hearing that the bomb blast didn't take. So there I was, totally blind, totally deaf, and just it was like being trapped in my own body. My whole world ended at my fingertips.
Man, it's like you can't catch a break sometimes.
That was my feeling at the beginning. I finally, after about a month or so, they let me out of the hospital, and I went back home. I was just sitting at my breakfast counter at the house, and then everything was like the talking computers and the phones and all that accessibility stuff was silent. It was rendered obsolete.
Yeah.
And at that time, I thought maybe I should have learned Braille, but the truth was, I mean, I was sitting there thinking, when is this soldier paid his dues? When is one guy had his fair share? But that's really self-defeating. There's only one direction that can go, and that's not good. That's a downward spiral.
Yeah, exactly. Now, how exactly did you develop this mindset that if I have to be blind, if I have to be blind, I'm going to be the best blind guy I can be? How did you adapt that mindset instead of seeing the mindset that, hey, I'm deaf and I'm blind and there's no excuse, people just aren't going to take this well? How did you not take pity on yourself?
Well, one, I had an incredible support system with my family and the military. Um, I can't praise my family for stepping up like they did, and that is a huge factor. Also, I was in Walter Reed after the blast, and I was in one room of many with warriors all over the place going through their own battles.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to let them down. I'm still a soldier. At the time I was still a staff sergeant, a team leader, still active duty until they decided it was time for me to hang up the uniform. Even though I couldn't see, I'm still a soldier. And I love how General Jim Mattis put it in Call Sign Chaos, Learning to Lead. He said, in the Marines, things being hard were never a good excuse for mission failure. So, it was that kind of mentality where there was still a mission. I was still a sergeant, still a soldier, still a father, husband, son, brother. I had these hats, these roles to fill, and I wasn't going to give up on them, and I wasn't going to give up on myself.
Yeah. So how do you have any suggestions for other people that are dealing with something? Now, there's something might not be the same as yours. Let's face it, there's not many people that have to deal with going blind and deaf. And so theirs might not be the same as yours, but how can you give somebody else hints on ways they can deal with things and develop a mindset like yours?
One of the best ways to do it that I found is one of my habits is if I'm ever feeling like that, like I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling angry at somebody else or the situation, I try to turn it around and I try to ask myself, how can I get stronger from this experience? What will I learn from having done my best and made it through to the other side? And it could be just dealing with a jerk on the road, or it could be going through a death in the family or some major kind of catastrophe. But if I'm looking at every obstacle as an opportunity to learn and grow and maybe help the next person get through it a little bit more. So, um, uh, I've since leaving the military become a speaker, I've become an entrepreneur, an investor. We've grown our family with two identical twin toddlers, and in every turn, I'm trying to find a way that I can teach my kids, my fellow soldiers, retirees, how do I do it? I'm trying to remember, pay attention, and remember the steps I've gone through so I can pass it on. And if I don't pay attention, what was the point of the lesson? So I treat it as an opportunity.
That is amazing. So guys, look, we're here with Aaron Hale tonight, and he's a retired EOD specialist, and he was blown up and lost his eyesight and his hearing to an IED. Now, if he's not stopping and he's done all this stuff since, like climb an 18,000 feet mountain, or he's kayaked down some wicked rivers, he's done all kinds of things. What is holding you back? I mean, I was in a car accident. I was in a coma for 2.5 months. I spent 3.5 in the hospital. They told me that I wouldn't walk again. But I've done some amazing things now. Actually, in like 11 days, I'm leaving for Kenya, Africa, and that is going to be amazing as well. But you see, I'm not letting it hold me back because I see the opportunity in the obstacles, as Aaron says. So you need to find opportunities in your obstacles. And what can you learn from what you were going through? Aaron said that so well. I have to give him props because all his thoughts are just wow, amazing. So, whatever is going on in your life, don't let it hold you back. Know that you can move on with your life. You don't have to just sit there and take it. You can learn from it. You can seize the opportunity in that obstacle, and you can live a great life. You can live your best life, but you can't let things hold you down. And that's something that Aaron has told us here. And that's something that I tell you every week on this show. And I just want to say that I am so happy, so thankful that Aaron took the time out of his night to be here with me and you. And we appreciate it, Aaron.
Thank you very much, Jeff. It was a pleasure being on. I appreciate it.
But we need everybody, including you, Aaron, to do me a favor. We need you to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds are going to run out on your one life. Hey guys, I'll see you back here next Tuesday. It will be at regular time, 7 p.m. instead of 8. But we thank Aaron again, and we hope you guys have a great night. And don't forget to make every second count.